down. Welcome. This is Brian introducing you to the new quantlabs.net membership. Okay, so what we can do is if you guys, we got a bunch of you, if you got questions, please post them as we go through. There's no formal presentation. There's no PowerPoint. I like doing PowerPoint, but I like to program and do research instead of getting bogged down in PowerPoint presentations. So this is a live demo, as I said, and I always do live demos. So when you join the Quant Labs membership, you get this new, basically the new dashboard. Okay, that's under the Academy here, and basically I'm going to walk you through all the different parts of this membership. Okay, so first let's talk about the courses. Now, some of these guys that are already online have been part of some of the courses that I've had. Specifically, I did a workshop back in November 2013 on how to build a custom trading platform. Okay, basically what I cover is a lot of people, when you're building a custom platform, there's a lot of moving parts that go into it. So, for instance, how do you capture real-time data? How do you capture historical backtesting data? I cover all that. My provider is IQFeed. I'm going to show you a couple of demos with IQFeed. My primary focus is Forex, so I'm going to do a live demo with some Forex, but I can show you, I can also watch equities, and it's like a menuing pricing subscription. So the only ones that have active right now are Forex and equities on the US exchanges. So that's module one, and typically how the courses work is you have a course, then I break it up through modules, and then we have separate modules for each course. So for instance, I'll just show you one module here. So basically how it works is you'll get typically a video. Those videos can be up to a few hours long. It's pretty extensive. And you get, of course, code samples and a lot of cool stuff. When you're going through it, you just, it will say mark this unit, and you move on to the next unit. It's pretty simple. You just, lay out some breadcrumbs for yourself as you're going through this. So essentially, back to the modules. We've got module one, which of course covers, as I said, market real-time data, historical backtesting. And then we have module two, which focuses on your broker. Typically, I use Interactive Brokers, being candidates quite limited with my brokers that support automated trading at an affordable rate. So that's why I use Interactive Brokers, as well as they're globally. So I have a lot of global members throughout, China, India. So they're in those markets. So it's important to me to have a broker that are players in those regions. So in this instance, you're using TWS, the client desktop application software, how to connect into it, and so on and so forth. A lot of people like to critique me on not providing complete demos of a complete trading system from end to end. I mean, these are primitive systems, and typically what I have in this particular module, it will walk you through end-to-end on how to do your IQ feed, use something like a mean reversion, basic strategies, kind of like an oscillator, and then at the same time does execution with submitting orders into TWS from Interactive Brokers. So I do provide a complete demo of that, and then again that's in this unit here, unit 4, module 2. And then we get into areas of your trading ideas. Typically I use MATLAB for my prototyping tool. There's R, Python. I play with those quite a bit. I find that those tools are quite limiting. For instance, with the R packages, I have potential investors that are very interested in what I'm doing. I don't think they'd be too comfortable knowing I'm playing with an open source tool with a R package that does some calculation or some kind of algorithm from some academia guy that has not been properly vetted by some large organization. It's one reason why I use MATLAB, and MATLAB's really powerful in extending their their software into other languages. Like in my case, C# is one of the languages that my system revolves around. And also there's some little secretive tricks here, like this mute pad, you know, how to use the Builder NE toolbox to easily bridge your C# code into MATLAB scripts, how to generate C++ from your MATLAB. Oh, and there's so much more. I mean, but wait, there's more, of course. One of the other areas in Module 4 is another tool within MATLAB called Simulink. It's very powerful, enables you to visually build strategies, extend it to C++, and then eventually, if you are a large organization that has the budget to do FPGA for eventual high-frequency trading, you can go down that path without doing any major modifications to your algorithms. So with that in mind, I cover that in this particular module. So I show you how to basically develop a trading module visually, not programmatically, visually, and then I have a demo for that, and then I have a little module on or unit on FPGA and how to generate C++ code from Simulink. Okay, the last module is you know, all your different databases options. Okay, I'm using SQL Server. I'm going to show you that tonight, later on. But you could use things like NoSQL, like Mongo, MySQL, Cassandra, Redis. I drilled down into MySQL, all these different NoSQL options, and of course SQL Server as well is my choice. Just as a side note, March 2014 is going to be really exciting because there's going to be a new SQL Server 2014, which will enable SQL Server to be in memory. I'm planning to leverage that functionality like crazy for all my future models. I think it's going to be a game changer for trading platforms and trading platforms with obviously C# code or whatever you are to use to connect in and into your SQL Server. And then I have the last module, which is on visualization and charting. So I have a whole module on that. And then of course I have all my other courses that I launched last summer, courses on R. These are all the different types of strategies and algorithms that you could use within R. So in this sense, obviously arbitrage, volatility, mean reversion, pair trading, technical analysis, one specific code for quant, Garch, and then we get into MATLAB. And then what I did was last summer as well, I did an exhaustive exercise trying to find out all the available MATLAB functions that you can use for trading and financial research and developing models and stuff. So I've spent quite a bit on that. And then there's all these units on using the econometrics toolbox, the financial toolbox, all these others toolbox, signal processing, stats, math, system identification, wavelet, optimization, curve fitting, which of course are more advanced toolboxes. And then we get into a specific course that I have revolving around Simulink, as I mentioned earlier, and how you can extend to C or C++, or HDL, which gets deployed onto your FPGA for, again, high-frequency trading. And then I have some other specific course for just algorithms, quant algorithms for pair trading, arbitrage, autoregressive, backtesting, and again, one other thing I should highlight is I have another course for open source trading as well, but that would be replaced easily by this course. Alright, so that's all the courses that are available, and it's quite a bit, but the reason I put these courses on this membership, it just enables people to have a really good leg up on trading research and algorithm development or strategy development, as well as that you can develop with source code. I got to repeat this, with source code and pretty detailed code walkthroughs on how to build different components for a trading algorithm-based trading system. And all these courses are there for you. Now, I'll go into some of the other advantages with this membership as well. Now, of course, I have typical latest news. I have calendar events. I'm not really updating this as much. I just don't have the need yet. But typically, I'll post all the events that I'm doing privately. Like, this is not for public consumption, so this will be available for everybody as part of the membership. And let me just go through two more sections here. Member forum, again, this is not for public consumption. This is a specific forum for everybody privately. This section right here, people aren't using it as of yet. And then I have a specific knowledge base, again, for members, and I'm building that out as people ask questions. I do have basically a Q&A, and I post everything in this section in the knowledge base. Again, I make sure I don't have this for public consumption. Okay, all of this is not available to the public, but I've generally have had in the past. This is just to to give everybody a trading edge, as well as maintain a level of secrecy and privacy with this membership. Okay, you know what? I blab enough. Anybody got any questions thus far? Because that's quite a mouthful, but there's quite a bit more, and I'm going to show you some more demos of what I've got going on. Anybody got any questions at all? Anybody got any feedback at all? Criticism? I'll assume not. All I have to do is just type it up in the chat box, and clear so far. Everybody is clear. Cool. Okay, let's get into the training module. Okay, so typically what I have here is I have articles. Again, I post a lot of stuff on my blog, but what you'll find here is this is just private stuff that I do not post to my regular viewers. And there's a reason for that, is because I want to maintain a level of premium service and source code availability for everybody that's part of this membership. In a way, it's a sense of exclusivity. That's why I call it the elite, because there's so many tools on this membership that enables you to, to get a major leg up. I've spent 3 years just studying trading systems, and I believe, from my perspective, what I've got here in the courses are the best of the best of the technology, get you quickest to market, to get your algorithms in development and in production. And of course, I'll be putting my own stuff onto this membership as well. A lot of the custom stuff. Okay, so let's get back to where we were. Okay, so I've covered the articles. I've got the courses. Now, of course, you might be asking about live training. Actually, tonight's video is going to get posted in this section. So anything I have a replay, like on January 30th, that would get posted in this section. So with the live training, I'm planning to have at least a weekly powwow. I call it a weekly powwow. I keep it open to people, but all the replay videos get posted into this section here I just showed you here. And again, that just gives it exclusivity for people, because I have a lot of people wanting free stuff, but what I do is getting to the point of, it's becoming very valuable, and I'm finding a lot of people are trying to steal what I'm doing, and you don't want to have hundreds and thousands of people doing the same thing, and basically it takes away your trader's edge when you're doing stuff in a more secretive kind of mode. Alright, so I've talked about the video tutorials. Let me show you the resources now. Okay, so this is the really powerful stuff. I've not posted this to anybody except to this membership. Now, this is really powerful. I don't even talk about this in public, but obviously this video will be out there. So what I've done is I've included all the best of the best stuff that I've been involved with, and I put it in this bonus section. So for instance, you know, I mentioned about stock screeners for Excel. For those that don't know, stock screeners are just amazing tools to have that can cut down and filter out a lot of false starts on trading. If you're into R or Hadoop, I've got a set of PDFs that will get you started. I've hosted some really good webinars on that, so there's those resources. Here's another thing I don't really talk about: open source stock exchange simulators. Where to go? And I got videos on that. Okay, I've got over the years on my YouTube channel, I've you know got two pretty, what I think are pretty cool webinars. One from Ernie Chan on backtesting and his presentation. And the other thing is, for those that don't know, the London Quant, and anybody I've met and talked to in the business, he is easily the most successful guy I've ever met. So we did a webinar online on YouTube between Ernie Chan and the London Quant, so I post that here. So those bonuses are kind of important. The cool thing about something like the London Quant, you know, you hear about a lot of these so-called insiders and whatnot. He's a prime example of somebody who's doing beyond the beyond. He was probably one of the most successful traders coming out of England for his time, and I mean that because of what I learned from him. So think of it as an inspiration that it is possible to achieve like big success. But again, I'm not trying to turn this into a quick rich scheme. You do have to still work for your dollars. There's no doubt about it. But the potential is huge. All right, so let's get back to the dashboard. All right, okay. A few other things that I've included in this membership again. Oh, I just got a couple of questions. Yeah, why don't we take a couple of questions here? I got one from here, Steve. Okay. Yeah, okay. So Steve's got a couple of questions. Let's get these knocked out, because this is what it's for you guys. First question: what am I trading? Anything I can find that is tradable. The gold and silver issue these days is long term, as dollars approaching its end of life. Please, based on on the end of its life phase, based on historical precedent. So I have personal bias to long side. Trading gold dollar pair is hard because the market is not free market, and such major events as current status change do not repeat enough for statistical backtest reliability. Requires dealing with unpredictable events regarding timing and frequency. HFT is somewhat independent of this due to greatly different scale and better statistical visibility due to more samples of data. The first task for me, in my opinion, is to determine the instrument's expectation of trendability. Yeah, that's very true. I'm going to show you a demo tonight to exactly showcase that, because retail traders traditionally trade on 15-minute, an hour, and when you're trading on tick, there's a lot of opportunities that a lot of people don't see. That's probably the fastest I can get access to for something under $200 in terms of a market data feed, as well as being able to trade on the tick. It's pretty powerful stuff. So I'm going to actually have a demo for you on that, just to, again, to show you the potential of that. All right, so I'm not sure if that answers or addresses your concern, Steve, but I'll have a live demo of that in a little bit. Okay, going back to the resources, let me just show you oh, that's, sorry, wrong one. Books. Okay. Okay, so Steve says it was answered. Okay, cool. Now, the books obviously help out. Sorry about this. Okay, so let me go back to my books. Okay, so a lot of books are out there. You know, I get a lot of suggested books like almost now daily. I mean, personally, I don't have the time to go through each book, but there are a bunch of books that have made a difference to where I'm at now. So I put it together. If you're really new to this, I mean, it's a lot of leg up work, but I put a list together of all the available books out there. I've got videos, you know, from the technology point of view, the strategy algo model development point of view, industry, and other notes as well. That have played an influence on where I'm at today. Okay, so I think we got one last section here. All right, so software. Now this is another big part of the membership. You won't get anywhere else. I purposely am keeping this secretive, so all my code that I'm posting, including what I'm going to show you tonight, will be posted under the membership, and hopefully, you know, you'll value this sort of stuff, because a lot of it will include algorithms. This set is in R. I've got a bunch in MATLAB, and obviously there's going to be ones on .NET and MATLAB. And, you know, I'll show you a good example. Okay, let's say I'm using the SQL Server, and if you go into the courses under database, let me just show you. I have a schema. I know it's somewhere in here, but for those that don't know, I have a database. Yeah, right here. This database schema is worth a lot of money. This is going to save you a lot of pain when you want to set up a database and set up the database tables and all that stuff. Again, I've got videos on it. I've got downloads for the SQL. I'm going to show you actually that in a second, what that entails. So that's included as part of the membership. So there's that sort of stuff that's going to save you a lot of time. All right. Anybody got any other questions or comments thus far? Because I want to get into where we're going. Where do we go to sign up for the membership? Okay. Let me just take you to, if you go under, okay, so John asked, where do we go to sign up for the Elite membership? Okay, so if you come under the Academy here, let me just get rid of this part here. So if you come under the Academy, okay, you'll see Be Elite, and then that will take you into basically like a sales sheet or a promo, and then you just go get started now. Pretty simple, and then that'll take you to a PayPal form, and then it'll sign you up. And you know, it is a membership, so there's a monthly fee for it. It's a recurring fee for every month to be part of that and give you access to all this stuff. Answer your question, John? Yeah, so we can talk about that in a second if you want, and further investigate that further. Okay, so we got that all out of the way. Cool. All right, so let's dig into the database. Okay. If you go through the courses, I've given a lot of heavy thought of where I'm going to go, trying to make coding easier, make the code a lot more maintainable. What I've done is, like I said, this is the SQL Server 2012. What do you call it? SQL Server Management Studio, which is also known as SQL S Server MS. Okay, so that's what the software is typically called. So this is part of SQL Server. Now, this database here is the database, that schema. Okay, so these are all the tables that are available: daily data, real-time position, and this data is always going to change as I'm making enhancements to the system, to the code. Everything's going to change. So for instance, I added this new tick data table, and if I look at the columns, you'll see that there's a lot more set of columns in here, like I'm tracking last, high, low, bid, ask, the symbol, and all that stuff. Okay, so in this software here, in the SSMS, this is typical SQL. Specifically with Microsoft, they call it transactional SQL. It's very, very powerful. Now, again, like I said, this is SQL Server 2012. The new version of 2014, which will come out in late March, is going to be, I think, a game changer. It's going to be huge because it has a new capability, which is a major feature of the new version, that will enable you to take all this data and host it internally in memory to make it very, very fast. Reports are coming in at up to 250,000 transactions per second. In comparison to something like Oracle, their current upward throughput is about 60,000 transactions per second. So the new version of SQL Server 2014 is, like I said, 250,000. So it was over 4 times as fast as Oracle. So that's the magnitude of how fast the new SQL Server will be. And in terms of coding it with a trading system around it, it's going to really enhance the capabilities. So as you can imagine, that's going to be pretty massive. Now, again, I'm not saying it's usable. It's very, very promising. But right now, I'm moving forward with development with that in mind. And if it doesn't turn out the way I want it, that's fine. I'll adjust and figure it out after late March when I get my hands on a production release of the 2014. Anybody got any questions on that? Okay, so let me just walk you through the database that I'm talking about. I'm currently working on this right now. So like I said, let me show you a little application here, okay? I am going to, this is a program, this is Visual Studio C#, that enables me to connect into my IQ feed, okay? So I have IQ feed here running in the background, okay? And I'm going to run this, okay? Let me just launch this puppy. And basically here is a Windows form that enables me, as you can see, it's tracking, or I have access to Forex data. So essentially I can add things to watch. Now, before I do that, what I want to do is let me show you the database will get populated as those ticks come in, okay? So tick data right now is 34,000, no, that's not right. Let me just show you. So I'm going to do a query statement here on the database. Let me just show you from tick data. Okay, and I'm going to execute it. So right now we've got 471 ticks in the database, in this table right here. So as I said, I'm going to launch this guy right now. Okay, this is just one example of the things that you can do with your own source code. It just enables you to have a lot of advantages. Okay, so I have my Windows form running. I'm not listing anything right now or watching anything, so I'm going to start watching the US dollar, Japan yen trading pair. Okay, so that's the symbol name for IQ feed. So I just start watching it. So it's now initiated. So you'll start seeing ticks come in. So if I go into my and again, all these ticks get recorded and inserted into my database. Okay, so let me just show you. We were at 52. So now we're at. Let me just see. Let me just clear this result set here. Let me just. So we're at 518, I believe. So it does grow as ticks come in. Okay. Now you might be asking, why am I showing you this? Because SQL Server or my database is going to be my repository for all my ticks. This is where I'm recording all the market activity. So now I can take all my models and run it against this data, and I can do all kinds of things like business intelligence, spreadsheets. I could have MATLAB connected into this puppy. So this essentially becomes my nerve center of all the data, be it real time, for back testing, it's all there. And because of this new capability of the 2014 edition, it's going to be making it a lot faster and a lot more usable. So essentially, this is this little C# program I'm showing you here. This is just one of many coding examples that I'll be putting up on the membership. So because it's available, and now you can just use IQ Feed and then use this code, and then also be able to populate your own database. You can imagine the amount of time you'll save by doing this and using this code. And I'm posting out only the workable final editions of the code. I'm not going to be posting any iterative code anymore. It just gets too bogged down with too many postings. So I'm only going to release stuff that's final and that works. It just makes things a lot better for members. That's how I plan to do that. So enough blabber so far. Anybody got any questions? Kuz says good. Yes, that's good, I guess. So Steve asks, is the SQL Server database with your coding low enough cost, size-wise and price-wise to run many instances remotely with remote trading software instances, and does it come with an operating system? Paul says he likes this. Cool, thanks. Oh, hey Paul, how are you? I just noticed you're online. Paul Cottrell, our presenter from last week. Okay, so to answer Steve's question, if you go into SQL or into the Microsoft, the cool thing about Microsoft is the availability of SQL Server Express. Okay, SQL Server Express is free. Okay, it does come with a lot of limitations. It does ship with this SQL Server Management Studio, but there's a lot of functionality you won't get. One, for instance, you won't be able to do something like this. Where's my little tasks here? Script table as, create, select, insert. Now, for anyone that uses like MySQL, it's a pain in the ass to work with. You can imagine with SQL Server, that's why you pay for it. But I know the SQL Server Express won't have those capabilities. But from my end, what do you care? Because I'm going to be giving you the schema. I'm going to be giving you all the TSQL for you. And you can easily just do a new query and run it and execute it. And that's it. So to answer your question, Steve, you can use you should be able to get away with the SQL Server Express edition. Okay, so hopefully that'll answer your question. Paul says he likes it. And then we got Ricardo asking, how skilled do you have to be in MATLAB or R course? I only used it in high school to a brief time, and honestly don't remember much many years ago. Well, to honestly tell you, the nice thing with MATLAB, it doesn't change a whole lot. It does not change a lot. You know, there's been great strides and improvements in the product, but like I said, the courses that I have available, let's see if I can pull up the right one here. Sorry, I'm just looking for my courses. Yeah, so let's say, I don't know, I'm just going to randomly, okay, so you ask about R, so I'll just do an R course. So basically what I do is, you don't really need to know a lot, because let's say you choose to use R. Typically you need RStudio and then just run the script. Sometimes there might be a package that you might need to install, and that's fairly easy to do. So it's not a lot of brain power you need to get that installed. And again, same with MATLAB to get those packages installed. Once you have those packages or those toolboxes, for, let's say for MATLAB installed, you just run the script. It's easy. And then the R code or the video walkthrough will hopefully walk you through that script, and you can reverse engineer and sort of understand. That's how I structure everything for this course, or for the whole membership with all these courses. So I'm hoping that makes it a lot easier for you. Okay, so let me know, Ricardo, if that answers your question. If you want, I can unmute you, and we can discuss it over the mic, I guess. Let me know. Yep, it answered my question. Thanks. Okay, so Steve comment, that is what I meant. Simplicity rules. Yeah, I'm assuming, Steve, you refer to just trying to keep as little posts as possible on this membership. Just not pollute it with all this other unnecessary stuff. Just keep the code final and easy to consume, I guess. Okay, Ricardo asked, I guess, to the packages, referring to R and MATLAB. Okay, now obviously R is free, and any package that you get typically is free. RStudio is free. That's why people use it. There's obviously a lot of disadvantages with it. I go on about it, but I'm not here to bash R. In terms of MATLAB, it's a totally different animal. MATLAB's very expensive. For instance, if you want something like I don't know, Simulink, that's $15,000. I mean, that type of toolbox in MATLAB itself is really geared towards banks and hedge funds, and that's who uses it. The big thing you get with it is saving time, and it gets you off to the races a lot faster as opposed to using something like R or Python, because typically you have to do a lot of your own development. And the other big disadvantage with R is when you use one R package versus another R package, a lot of packages don't play nice, so you have to do all this data manipulation to convert this data type to that data type so that this package and that package can talk to each other, and it becomes really basically a nightmarish situation. That's why I like MATLAB, because they have a package and all, or sorry, let me rephrase that. With MATLAB and the toolboxes, all the toolboxes will talk to each other and play nice with each other. That's another professional thing you get with MATLAB. But again, if MATLAB is a concern for you, typically what I'll do is I'll provide MATLAB source code, the scripts themselves. But if you don't have it, I'll be able to generate an assembly, a .NET assembly, so that you can easily drop that, which is basically MATLAB in itself, and give you access to it from the other source code components so that you can talk to them from MATLAB, and I can distribute those DLLs generated from within MATLAB and distribute those royalty free. So I'm planning to have everyone have access to those DLLs if, you know, obviously cost is a factor. But again, I'll be providing the MATLAB scripts themselves as well. So Ricardo said, yep, that answers your question with R and that. And Steve says, keep it small and fast. Okay. Yeah, anybody else got any questions so far? There's one other little thing I want to show you, another surprise. Anybody else? We're up to 7:35. Okay, well, let me move on to the next pro. So Steve asks, many quants I know use both Octave and R. Many academics publish in R and Octave. Yeah, that's the key difference, what you just said, Steve. Academics use R and Octave because it's open source. Professionals, like especially in the industry, are using MATLAB because there's a license fee for it, and it's commercial. So that's the difference between R, let's say /Octave, and MATLAB and Octave. And those for that don't know what Octave is, it's an open source clone of MATLAB that has nowhere near the functionality that MATLAB delivers. I mean, it's close, but obviously you want to use the Neil McCoy. Now, Paul asks, can we have multi-sockets to SQL? Yes, you can. Let me show you the code. Okay, so let's say in my method here in C#, typically I have my SQL method here, and this is a typical call you'd make to your database. So what you could do is you could have separate threads call this method, lock it if you need, or if you find ways to keep it unlocked. Definitely, this is how you could do it, and just call these methods around your SQL. And again, I'll be providing this source code when it's available, when I get to the point where it's final. It's pretty close. This seems to work fine. Anybody else got any questions before I move to the next section? John asks, how far have you taken the HDL FPGA approach? Have you implemented models of strategy in the actual hardware? John, I'm not sure your background. HFT, HDL, FPGA, that's typically a very expensive endeavor. It's a very expensive path to go down. First of all, you need the HDL coder toolbox from MATLAB and Simulink. That's quite expensive. Like I said, probably I'm gonna guesstimate $15,000 to $20,000 in itself plus Simulink. So you're already just on the MATLAB licensing side about I'm gonna estimate $20,000 to $30,000. On top of the boards themselves in production, decent FPGA board's gonna run you $5,000 to $10,000. So the answer is no, I have not played with it. I've taken it to the point where I can co-generate HDL. Beyond that, I've shown you guys where to go for the webinars that MATLAB has if you do want to continue with that path. So they do provide that. I know a lot of banks are doing that. They just don't publicize it. But yeah, you gotta have some big budget behind you. So John says, I'm well funded in the end. First gen hardware is on its way. Yeah, I would agree. It's first generation. If you're well funded, I would definitely pursue it. The beautiful thing about MATLAB and Simulink is you can code up your model in Simulink visually, and then bang it out in HDL or C++, and you don't have to change the model itself, the visual representation itself. So if you have that type of budget, yeah, go for it. And then you can take that box that you drop it in and be able to easily drop it into if you want to do something like direct market or however you want to be able to read in and execute your data. You can definitely do that. I personally think that the Simulink FPGA route is the best way to go. It's the easiest I've seen. Instead of hand coding the HDL, it gets kind of ugly. So I'm not sure if that answers your question, John. I can definitely show you if you want. I can show you some demos with MATLAB. I haven't done that yet. As I said, I can generate the HDL, but in terms of cost beyond that, you're looking at, beyond my budget as well. I know Kuz just said he has an interest in that as well. I know he's an FPGA guy, but like I said, there are specific courses or webinars that MathWorks makes available for that. So if you want, I can definitely point you in that direction if you want, or just go into Google and just do here, we can do that right now. And here, yeah, I can give you the resources. Simulink webinar or FPGA webinar. So right here you got some YouTube videos. Here's the webinars to get you started, okay? And I'll put this link in the chat box. So again, if you are interested in that, I would pursue and go through these webinars. These are fantastic, and they'll walk you through right from the horse's mouth of Altera and Xilinx, and it just goes on and on and on. You can easily use this for finance. I see no reason why, and that's how high frequency shops do it, really. Kuz said, let them make a section in the forum. Yeah, we can definitely do that. As I said, for you, John, yeah, we have the private, the elite membership forum, as well as we have the public forum as well. So if you want, just put in the technical forum or something like that. But you got it. Yeah, and the whole, as Kuz says, it brings us all together. So that's the whole point of the forum, so that people can go into one area and just look at what's going on with other people and have a kind of community. And then again, have a separate one for members as well for the elite stuff. Hopefully that'll answer your question, John. Anybody else got any questions? I want to show you another section. It's going to be revolving around visualization. I guess not. Okay, so I've shown you, this is what I'm currently working on. It's kind of working. So I'm able to take IQ feed, populate into a database with SQL Server. And then the other end of it, what I'm going to have is, what I'm going to show you is kind of not slick as I want, but it enables you to basically chart all that data, okay? And there's some other little cool things that you can do with it. Let me just show you. Let me just run it. Hang on here. Okay. Let me just. Paul's asking about TWS link. Hang on, Paul. We'll address that in a minute. Okay, so I'm just going to run this start. Hopefully I'll be able to do something here. Oh, here we go. Okay, so this is the charting that I'm probably going to go with for now. There's a couple of advantages with this actually. So what I'm going to have here is I'm going to have eventually this component will talk to the database. So let's say I'm going to have all the assets that are in the database currently being watched, get a quick snapshot of what's working and the percentage, how it's doing on the markets. Of course, I'm going to be able to watch things like Forex with this chart. It's going to have a little chart here, and as well as I turn on, let's say, the models, it will be able to track the profit loss, as well as just a quick snapshot of how everything's doing in a nutshell. Okay, so that's what I'm planning to do, and of course that this component will talk to the database with the SQL Server. Okay, that's what I'm working on now. Once I'm happy with it, I'll definitely put the code up available for everybody in the memberships, and you can go from there. Just a couple of caveats though. Okay. If you watch my particular section on visualization, this module here, okay, there's a number of options I present. Okay, the big thing is with this charting, this is DevExpress. This is the fastest and the slickest library I've seen in .NET for charting. Okay, it's very fast and it's slick. I didn't build this. This is an out-of-box sample that comes with DevExpress. Okay, there's another one that I've been trying to work with, but this particular one has a lot of advantages. Of course, I got the P&L I can track, and I can do that on an asset basis as well as on a portfolio basis as well. The other cool thing is, just so people know, if you go into the source code in my Visual Studio, which is here, let me just stop that debugging session. If you look here, there are different versions of that front end. So I can have a front end for a tablet, I can have a front end for a web-based service, as well as so those are the different types of front ends. So what does that mean? The tablet, for instance, if I want to deploy it onto Windows, mobile, any of the iOS, or even Android, that can be done. That's all done through the magic of HTML5. And you can even generate your own apps from it, mobile apps. And again, that will talk to my SQL Server. And there's virtually no coding changes on the front end because it's using this core here as part of that, and all you're doing is just building a new front end, and that's included. Again, if you wanted to have, let's say, this served up on a web service through something like ASP, that can be done as well with the same charting, which is very, very powerful, as you can imagine, if I decide to go down with some kind of deployment for either web or for mobile. So that's one of the other reasons why I'm using it. I'm going to imagine there's going to be some questions that come out of that. Okay, so Paul, just hang in there for TWS link. We'll address that in a second. Okay, people have been asking about DevExpress. Hang on here. Okay, so DevExpress. Yeah, Ricardo's asking about DevExpress. Okay, regarding the expense of DevExpress, again, you can use, in that module I showed you on my course, you could use any of the open source options like Oxyplot. If you're trying to save money and you factor in open source, by the time you develop something like this, like a DevExpress, you would easily spend more time developing something equivalent to this versus DevExpress itself. As for the cost, there's different editions of it. The edition that I'm using is called the Universal. It's a couple $1,000s, and it is a subscription. But again, it's part of my environment and cost of doing business for this type of development and this type of trading platform. There's a number of options you have available, and that's why I have done this particular course to present those type of options. Another option, if you cost is a factor, you could use JavaFX as well, and easily have it talk to the SQL Server. But again, it's a factor of time that you need to consider. Hopefully that'll answer your question, Ricardo. Okay, Steve's got a question or a comment. Let me just get into it. Okay, answer to first question. What am I trading? Anything I could find that is tradable. The gold and silver issue these days is long term as dollars approaching its end of life. Oh, I've already covered that, I think. Yeah, I did. Sorry about that. Kuz says a little. I'm not sure what you're referring to, Kuz, so I'm sorry there. I can always unmute people. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, Paul asked about... hang on here. I think I'm messing up my question box here. Hang on here. Okay. Okay, so we've covered the cost of DevExpress. TWS link, again, Paul, if you could just rephrase your question. I'm not sure what you're referring to there. I'm not going to be demoing Interactive Brokers or TWS link. It's a bit of a time to set up. I could probably try and make an attempt, but I can't promise to get it working. Steve says, this is very nice. Important to the is the ability to run multiple instances of home dashboard front end for certain different portfolios simultaneously. Well, Steve, there's more to come. This is just one front end that I just showed you the charting. There's going to be a lot of leveraging off of Excel. I've got identified a really good library for Excel that will tie into all this stuff, really powerful stuff. Okay, Steve says cost issue is the ability to deploy multiple instances for reliability without expensive licenses. I agree. Computers are so cheap. I'm assuming you mean the open source. Sorry, let's say open source versus hardware. Yeah, but again, it comes down to a factor of time versus money. I choose sometimes the money if I can afford it. But MATLAB's a huge cost, obviously, for what I'm doing. It's been valued over 125 grand, so it's something not really cheap that most people can afford. But again, this type of environment can be used in a kind of by independent traders, no problem. I'll be providing all the MATLAB resources as part of the membership. But if you want to get really cool with your own trading ideas, I think definitely MATLAB is the way to go. Paul asks, is your intent for SQL tables for backtesting only? No, no, absolutely not. Just so you know, Paul, what you're witnessing here in the SQL server is real time. Okay, I'm not sure if you saw the demo of this app that I just launched here. I'll do it again. This is real time. This is against. This is IQ feed in action, real time. Okay, so I've just added watching US dollar, Japanese yen. So here's the ticks coming in, and they're getting recorded as we speak into the SQL server. Okay, and also I can watch multiple assets as well. Just all I have to do really enter. So I could just do things. I'm watching the US dollar, Japanese yen. So in my case, I can easily add the US dollar, Canadian trading pair. And again, that is all being recorded in SQL Server, and that's real time. Okay? So hopefully I'll help you out. Okay, so I'll address your other question in a minute, Paul. MATLAB cost worth if you can deploy, which is deploy for low cost as multiple customized for purpose instances. Totally. MATLAB is very powerful compared to R. Again, you're dealing with packages that don't play nice with each other. Cost of time of development, cost of reliability and confidence with those packages. But yeah, if you're purchasing something like with MATLAB, you know it's getting vetted through a big organization like MathWorks. So it is a vote of confidence when you're purchasing something like MATLAB. So Paul asks, why not just store in an array for trade signal? Okay, Paul. I know where you're what you're driving at. Okay. In here is the query I have in my SQL Server. With what I'm hoping to do with SQL Server 2014, when I get my hands on the production release, I can do things like on a particular table. So let's say I'm watching the tick data. What I could do is I could set up triggers. I could set up store procedures. I'm not sure if you're a database guy, but basically what that means is I could watch this data and then it will raise a trigger or an event, and then I can have that trigger sent back to my C#. So if I have any C code or C# code in my model, it can react to those events and those triggers. So hopefully there's a lot of flexibility when you are using your own your own source code, and I'm going to be demoing more and more of that. If you're already a member, as I said, for that kind of stuff, just use this particular unit 4 of module 2, which is the end-to-end demo of the complete system with IQ Feed as well as the interactive brokers, and I'm showing the C# code that does all that. So you can do all that in your C#, what I call trading model. And like I said, there's going to be more to come as I roll out more algorithms in C# that will tie in all this, IQ Feed, SQL Server, and interactive brokers. Okay, we got a new person by the name of Alex online. He's got a question. What's your conclusion on Python versus MATLAB? You've been discussing Python more often now versus R. Okay, Alex, that's a good question. Here's the thing. I've got professionals out there that use MATLAB and only use MATLAB. A lot of the drawbacks with things like R and Python, I've already mentioned about R. I'm not here to bash R and Python, but one thing I do know, a lot of disadvantages with Python is you're going to probably have most likely the same issues you have with R on top of, from my understanding, I've had Q&A people that have worked with entire web services done in Python, and it's heavily bug ridden. That's one big disadvantage with Python. Another huge disadvantage with Python, I keep hearing over time and time again, no different than Ruby on Rails, is when you have a Python script that's doing something, Python comes along, upgrades it, and it's a major release, now it's starting to break your Python code. So that's another huge disadvantage with Python. I could take a MATLAB script basically written maybe 10 years ago, and most likely it'll run in the current version of MATLAB because they have no coding, breaking the code policy. Microsoft's the same thing with .NET. Java's the same thing, and definitely MATLAB is also the same. But a lot of these other languages like R, Python, I don't think they have that as part of their policies when they're upgrading languages. So it's one of the big contenders I have, or things I'm worrying about with Python. As I said, if I was to bring in some guy who's going to invest $10 million in an operation with me, and I would told them I'm going to use Python and R, they probably don't even know what it is. But for me, from a liability point of view, I'd not be comfortable using R or Python because, as I said, it has not been professionally vetted with a company like MathWorks. So again, I don't want to use something, a piece of software, have an algorithm, have it live trading, and then something in the software just goes off the rails and it starts screwing up my position, or something goes haywire. I just can't risk it, especially if it's in the even hundreds of thousands of dollars portfolio. You're dealing with live money, and you got to use stuff that has been professionally vetted. That's one of the big advantages with these commercial type of tools, .NET and MATLAB. Anybody else got any questions? Because I've pretty well gone through everything I wanted to demo tonight. Let me just tear this down. I'm hoping. Oh, Paul, are you able to ask about TWS? Because you had a question about TWS with the interactive brokers. I have not even demoed that. I'm not sure if I can demo something with the TWS, but let me show you. Yeah, I don't think I'm prepared to show you that. I mean, I could do that next week, no problem, a live demo. But what I wanted to show was definitely the. Hang on, let me just see if I might be able to pull something up here. Hang on. In the meantime, if anyone's got any questions, let me just see. Just trying to see if I can do a quick test. I don't think I can. No, I don't think I'm able to do that. Okay, Alex has got another. Oh, two questions came in. Steve asked, that is why multiple instances reliability over uncontrolled problems like outage, OS crashing, etc. I'm assuming you agree with me, Steve, but thanks for that. I can unmute people, just let me know, and we can further discuss. Okay, Alex asks, if you don't offer execution via fix, then you can't really call it HFT. No. By the way, AMP Clearing is offering free Xtrader and allows Canadian clients. Thanks. I think I mentioned a few postings about Xtrader. It's a very expensive endeavor. It's about $1,100 just for the basic per month. Very expensive, and it's a great piece of software, but it is cheap. I like to own my own technology. I don't like monthly fee things because when you develop technology around it, and for whatever reason something you don't like, you're screwed because now you've got all your code and your platform held hostage to that platform that you're paying monthly to. And personally, I'm not a fan of that. But it's good to know that there is now a Canadian connection on from a client point of view. That's pretty cool. Now, Alex asks about fix. Now, again, we've had, for you, Alex, we've had numerous people come in asking what is HFT. Now, I don't know what your definition of HFT is. Just because it's on fixed doesn't mean it is high frequency. Most likely it is. But there are some open source alternatives that you could use for fix. Like the one I like, showing a lot of promise, is Fix 8. I'll type that in the chat box for people that are interested. If I choose to go down that path. But there's also some other options that I have. Java solutions that enable me to get into a Java enabled fix environment, and of course if I stick with interactive brokers, they support fix as well. So Paul asked, can a SQL table be accessed by a website? Yes, it can. Actually, let me show you the code. If you go into the financial code here, or that demo I showed you, I'll show you how that works. So let's say you've got the different front ends as I showed you earlier. Here in the web edition, everything's the same here, but it's also calling the core. This solution, this project right here. So any of these front ends can easily talk to the core, and because the core has all the SQL calls in here, so any of the front ends can easily call that. So the answer is yes. In a nutshell, you can call SQL from a website, no problem. Anybody else got any questions? Because I was hoping to maybe, I'm just trying to think if I can set up the IB stuff, the interactive broker stuff, but I'll see what I can pull up here. No, I don't think I have anything to show. Yeah, well actually I could probably run something. Okay, Alex, sounds like you're a tech guy. So back to C++, since IB TWS is based on Java, why not just write your core in Java and call it via IKVM to C#? Okay, I like to do everything native, Alex. Java is just I was playing with Java yesterday, and to be honest, it's just a very high maintenance language. C Sharp's high maintenance as well, but it's a lot easier to work with, fewer dependencies, and I just prefer C Sharp now over Java. And Java's also a security breach, just so you know, with version 7. I know they're trying their best, but it seems to be the most popular language a lot of hackers are breaching through these days. A lot of people don't know that, but if you just go into the BBC headlines, you'll see what I'm talking about. I might be able to show off the, hey, might be able to do it. Okay, I'm going to pull up, now again, I'm not going to be able to promise I'll be able to get the interactive brokers running, but I'll show you typically what happens. Okay, so yeah, it looks like I might be able to do it. So I'm going to try to load up my Trader workstation, just so people understand. What I'm about to pull up here is my Trader workstation software. Okay. Yeah, I got too many things running. Actually, let me just close some of these down. Oh, here we go. So yeah, my system's kind of dogging it, but I'll close some of these Visual Studio projects. Another question came in from Ricardo. For initially playing around, is there a way to avoid subscribing to IQ feed? I like to do tests on past data, but I'm to pay the premium IQ fee. I'm not sure what you refer to as premium. When you look at Bloomberg and Reuters, you're paying over $1,000 per month. That's premium. The subscription I'm paying with IQ feed is $125, so it's pretty affordable. If you want to fool around with data, I can always provide you a bunch of real-world comma-separated value files. I make them available if you want to play with back-tested data. So let me know if you want that, and I can definitely put a post together and give you access to that. Yeah, Ricardo responds, 125 is very responsible, thank you. Well, I'm not here to advertise IQFeed, but while we're at it, let me just show you how it works. Let me see here. Actually, we'll leave that for another day. The IQ feed, yeah, it's $125. John asks, what's my day job? This is my day job, John. This is what I do. That's why I have my membership, because that enables me to keep doing what I do. Without that, I wouldn't be able to keep the lights on. I like providing stuff for free, but when you look at all the videos I've got online, I've got over 500 videos and so on and so forth. So I can provide a lot of free stuff, but at some point, the pipers needs to be paid. Mortgages and rent and food's not free. I gotta live just like everybody else. Alex asks, if you're not using Fix or doing HF, why not just do everything in MATLAB? MATLAB even offers connectivity to TBS, Xtrader, and all that. Yes, it does. Alex, you're right, but for my testing with the MATLAB, it's not reliable. You gotta remember, MATLAB in itself is single-threaded, meaning it's only one process at a time. Yeah, you can parallelize it, blah, 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 blah. But I've noticed with MATLAB, connecting into interactive brokers, connecting into, let's say, IQFeed, it is not able to, like I showed you that app of all those ticks coming in. You can get up to 300 ticks per second, which means MATLAB in itself cannot keep up with those ticks because it's so fast that you need something like a compiled language like .NET, C#, C++, or whatever. For testing, MATLAB is fine, but for production and live training, I would not recommend R or MATLAB. Steve comes back, CSV history and SQL history files you can post with your demos will be very nice. Yeah, I can definitely do that. I used to do that in my other membership, Steve. I can provide, I believe it was Ricardo wanted to get access to that, or whoever. I can definitely provide that for you guys. It's no problem from my end. It's just a file I posted somewhere, no big deal. John asks, or John says, damn right, you're a smart guy and you should enjoy the fruits of your labors. I'm not saying I deserve to be well paid, but I've been doing it for 3 years and I'm being paid probably minimum wage right now. I just do it out of passion and so on and so forth, but I need to scale it up, and I guess I call it moving up the food chain. Do the attendees use volatility correlations in their trading? So that's a question to you guys. Do you want? Let me know, Paul, if you want to be unmuted. I can definitely put you out there and see what people think, and do the same thing we did the presentation. Okay, hang on, folks. We got Paul Cotrillo, our last week's presenter, and I'm going to unmute him. Hang on, Paul. Okay, Paul, you can speak. Can you hear me, Paul? Paul.
Hi.
Hey, Paul. How you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just wondering if anyone that's attending your lecture here uses volatility or correlations in their trading, because I'm trying to work on doing a weekly report and providing for free to the quant team here, information on the market. And I'm just trying to get a feel for what sort of data the attendees are looking for in their trading.
Anybody want to answer that question for Paul? Again, if anyone's using volatility or correlation in their trading. Just waiting for some responses. Hang on now, Paul. Just give me a second. Okay, hang on. I got some responses. Golly gee, this Matt, this GoToWebinar drives you crazy. Nobody's responded. Anybody got any answers for Paul? It's for correlation or volatility. Anybody doing any of that in their live trading? No responses so far, Paul.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, there's only 10 of us. I think we're up to, what, 10 people, I think? So, it's not like last week where we had like 32 people, I think, came aboard.
Right.
But if you want, just post that on the forum or something, or on the meetup, or we can do a whole meetup around it.
Yeah, that's possible. I'm developing something, as you know.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get an idea of what people would use, because it makes no sense to develop something that someone doesn't use.
Right. No, I know volatility and correlation is a big deal. If you go through a lot of my MATLAB, there's a lot of correlation stuff in it. Volatility is another story, but right now, I'm just doing the simple stuff right now. But I do know it's as you presented last week, it is a huge indicator, or used as a metric.
Right.
But, okay. Sorry, man, but maybe next time. Hang on. We got some people saying they got it. From Steve, he says, I do use volatility and correlation. Many ways to express volatility. Correlation matrices have many uses for various studies. I know Steve's a long-time follower of what I do. I don't think he's available to do on his mic, but let me know. Let me know, Stephen, and I can bring you in if you want. Also, I got a response from Ricardo. Says, sorry, Paul, I am now getting started and haven't even looked into volatility yet. So we got some newbies as well online.
I'm curious about Steve's usage of volatility. If he's using a stochastic volatility measure, or some sort of historical average, or the implied volatility that's calculated by the Black-Scholes model. If he's using something that has an option.
I'm going to assume that Steve would have to answer that. Steve, if you got that, and let me know if you can come aboard via mic.
The reason why I'm asking is I'm just trying to get a feel for what the traders in the group are using. If they're just using the simple implied volatility, or a simple averaging of the volatility, or a little bit more complicated Garch model.
Steve responded there. You named several which I meant. So it sounds like everything that you've listed he's using.
Does he have a favorite
that
he's using?
What's your fave, Steve? Or what's the one that works best for you? Just so people know, including Paul, a lot of people sometimes, I will say that some people don't want to talk about what they use specifically, just out of secrecy or whatnot. So there's a lot of that. So we may have that right now.
Oh.
But we can always.
I mean, for me, prefer using some sort of stochastic volatility model. Um, but I was just curious to see what other traders are using.
I mean, what we could do is what I'm hoping we can have private webinars like this just for members only, so this sort of information will not get out there to the public. That's one of the things that I have as part of the membership, and try to really get a better handle on what real professionals and real profitable traders are using. That's something I'd like to do, but a lot of people will not open up as a group to share that sort of info. Unfortunately,
Okay.
I have a lot of people that are part of banks and hedge funds, and that's for competitive reasons.
Okay.
So I think that's the situation we have here. Oh, Steve just came back. Steve came back. Hang on. I need, for example, correlation singular spectrum analysis is a fave. All about SVD of correlation matrices of multivariate time series to separate trends and cycle or cyclical components. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
Thank you.
No problem. We can definitely do this on a separate webinar. No problem, man. I'm gonna put you on the mute again. Sorry, man. Now I did see a couple of questions here. Alex, comment. You don't like Hadoop because it's Java open source. No, I'm not saying I don't like Hadoop. But, you know, it's a hypey type of buzz name, I guess. Big data. SQL Server does the same thing. It's equivalent to do the analysis. There's numerous ways I could use SQL Server. It's a repository, no different than what Hadoop is. It's just, I've played with Hadoop, and again, it's a pain to set up, work with. I know it's used throughout industry, and the big thing is for using those type of technologies, you honestly, if you're going to do it well, you need an army of coders to maintain it and customize it, optimize it. It's a huge job. So that's how I respond on the Hadoop and all that big data stuff. But definitely SQL Server is very capable of the same thing. SQL doesn't scale well for tick data storage. Yeah, you're right, Alex. But again, as I said, with SQL Server 2014, that may change with the new internal memory database functionality. I can't say for sure, but I do know DirectEdge is using it, and it's getting amazing throughput with tick data, and it's an exchange, not a provider, and not a trading operation, and it's using SQL Server 2014. So the potential is there. Just trying to optimize it and find the right way. Anybody else got any comments? Coming up to 8:15, an hour and a quarter, which is a good time. Or 8:20. Sorry, my clock here on the system is slow. Anybody else got any comments? Anything about the membership itself? I don't mind talking technology and strategies here. I'll be definitely doing this next week. What I'm hoping to present next week is actually a working copy of what I just showed you, with the IQ feed being fed into SQL Server, and then at the other end have the charting work with the work with the SQL Server, maybe hopefully having some kind of live trading happening with interactive brokers and everything coming together. Alex responds that memory processing speeds were increased for SQL, not storage related. That's true. But how Microsoft's handling it is basically on the geek side of it. Everything gets stored in a C DLL, and then you tap into the DLL from your code. It's quite ingenious what they've done. So it is for processing speed as well as storage as well. But you have to check out the SQL Server 2014 for that. It's a different mindset when it comes to databases and trading systems. Anybody else got any comments, questions? Anything about the membership itself? Because I'll be doing a couple of more webinars, like I said, on this with the charting and stuff. Alex responds with basically like Nesper and SQL database. I don't want to get too techie here, Alex. But just to answer your question, with Nesper, you're referring to complex events processing. SQL Server has that capability with something called Stream Insights. I have addressed it. I have played with it. It works fine. So you can use SQL Server as a way to basically stream your data into a .NET app or whatever app you want. So that capability is there. But I do think the new internal in memory kind of changes all that. So who else got any questions or comments on what we've got? Anybody? Any comments on the membership? Like I said, I'll put the where to go if you are interested in the membership. If you want, you can just come into a Quant Labs Academy, and there's a little button that says Be an Elite Member, and then that will take you to a form. It'll give you the spiel on what I've demoed tonight, and then just go to the bottom, and you go get started. And that's it. And I'll be posting all the new source code in this section. Everything will be locked down in that area. Who's got questions? Anybody else? Comments or anything? Yeah, just let me know. I'll put that link again in the chat box. So hopefully you got that link. Alex, what are you doing with Simulink? Alex, I'm just showcasing. If you go onto my channel on YouTube, I got a whole pile of videos on that. What I'm doing with, planning to do with Simulink. Let me just put that YouTube channel, Quant Labs channel on YouTube in the chat box. So just do a search on Simulink, and I've got dozens upon dozens of videos that demo what I plan to do with it. Anybody else got any questions? So, Ricardo's got a question. Are there any beginner books you can recommend before somebody joins the Elite program? Well, Ricardo, I'm gonna let me. I remember you said you were a beginner. Can you chit chat for a bit? Let me ask you a couple of questions, Ricardo. Can you want me to put you on mic? Would that be okay? Okay, hang on. I'm gonna unmute you. Hi, Ricardo. How you doing? Ricardo?
Hello?
Hey, how you doing?
Hi.
Okay, so
Good.
I'm bringing you in because you'd probably be representative of a typical potential person for this type of membership. What's your technical chops like in terms of programming?
I'm a web developer, so I know things like PHP very well.
Okay.
But I am a complete beginner when it comes to whether it be Python or .NET.
Okay.
I did .NET a very, very long time ago, back in the ESP days.
Yeah.
But I don't remember much.
Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my Elite. I don't know if you were online, but here I have recommended books. Okay. I'm going to put in one of the books to get you started. It sounds like you're a programmer, which is good. Let me just pull up the posting here on books. Now in here, there's a book I've recommended for technical. Head First, this one.
Okay.
Actually, these two are really very powerful books. I'll put them in the chat box for you. Okay, the first book here is called Head First, 3rd edition. I give the link there. This is basically a good non-programmer's introduction to C#, because I'm using C# as my primary language. The other book here I've given is How Do You Develop Trading Systems in C# and all the important architectural point of views that you need to consider. That's another great book. So those are two books I'd strongly recommend for anybody that's going to get into this. I've studied a lot of books and platforms, and these two are easily the best to get you started if you're coming in from a non-programming point of view. Different people have different point of views, but this book I find is really powerful. Does that help you out?
Yeah, it does. Along with the book, which version of Visual Studio should I be using?
The one I use in all my projects and all the software I give is Visual Studio 2012. The Express edition should be fine, but I use the Ultimate, which the Express is free. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Anything else?
No, pretty much helps me out. I'll try getting some of those books and read up a bit on it.
Okay. Hopefully I'll help you out. All right, hang on, man. I'm just gonna put you back on mute here. Sorry, I gotta put people on mute just due to the fact of background noise. Okay, Steve says VMware is a free player for specialized purposes running on your machine with dedicated OS and applications. Can you post a player for MATLAB output of your C++ and SQL demos? Can you post player for MATLAB output of your C++? I'm assuming you're referring to either the reports, like I'll either be doing videos on it, or if there's source code, I'll definitely post it as part of the membership. And as I said, if it involves like something you need MATLAB for, I can easily include the let's say the DLL for it, for so that you can drop that into whatever you want to use, and give all the available parameter calls to be able to access the methods or functions from within MATLAB within that DLL. Not sure if that answers your question, Steve. Steve says, if Express editions are enough for demos, that is great. I agree. Not player of VM, just an analogy of a way to deploy. Yeah, that's why I put my videos together to sort of walk people through it, because the beautiful thing I love about, let's say, Visual Studio. So let's say this guy right here, I want to load in this Visual Studio. I just go here, open with Visual Studio, and that's it. And it opens up everything. Everything's ready to go. I can build it and run it. Whereas opposed to if it's done in Java, it's a complete nightmare. You gotta load up all these jar files and blah 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 blah. This is why I really like Visual Studio and .NET. Oh, I also should say, you're asking about virtual machines like VMware. I agree, just so people know, I use this puppy right here called VirtualBox from Oracle. Yeah, this little guy right here. I use that for virtual machines. So it's very powerful. Okay, so I'm hoping that answers your questions for Steve. Alex asks, you don't have any solutions for risk management. Again, that's very true. But I don't address that currently. Let me just go back to my books. Funny thing is that you mentioned that, Alex. There's a couple of books that I know with risk management. There's a number I can pick out here. There is, again, this book I've already mentioned that talks about risk management. Also, we have Ernie Chan's books. He covers a lot of risk management in his MATLAB stuff, as well as there was another book. Actually, some of my MATLAB scripts have risk management in there. It's just running metrics against your trading environment. So yeah, I'll be addressing that at the back end once I've gone through everything on terms of the strategies. Right now I'm only focusing on forecasting, really, to be honest. Risk management is a big part of it, but I'll be definitely addressing it towards the end of this whole process. So Alex's VirtualBox sucks. Go for Zen or KVM. Sure, everybody's got their own, what works for each person, I guess. Steve asked, just a listing of URLs to download a kit to compile with duplicate run your tutorials would be very educational. I'm not sure what you're referring to, a kit, K-I-T in capitals. Yeah, I'm not sure what you're referring to, Steve, on that one. If you can like hit me back with something on that just to clarify my understanding on it. John asks, can you gauge the interest in this audience of how many people would be interested in working on hardware, software for an HFT platform for the common man? Ooh, John, are you able to talk? I'm sure there's a lot of people who would be interested in that. Anybody out? Just let me know if you can talk, John. Sure. Hold on, John. I'll. Okay, I know we already got Coos already. I could probably bring him in. Okay, John. Oh, John, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hey, John, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Okay. Why don't you give us a little synopsis on what you mean with this hardware software solution for high frequency or platform? Is this like for a business idea or for your own solution, or what are we looking at?
Well, I'll explain it. So my regular job, my day job is I build automation,
Yeah.
and the project I'm working on is basically we're building a Google car crane that can actually pick stuff up in a steel mill and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So out of that came some very heavy duty hardware that's FPGA based, which also, if you retask it, can basically be an HFT platform. Or I'd be happy just for a day trading platform that makes me lots of money while I just stay in bed and sleep. So
Right.
that's why when I discovered this group, I'm trying to see is there other like-minded people, because I can take care of the software side to some degree with the MATLAB and the Simulink, and the hardware side with the FPGA because I have custom hardware basically coming through the pipeline.
Yeah.
But there's this whole the fixed protocols and all that. I need to have some solid people out of the community kind of guide me and kind of help flesh out the requirements and stuff. So that's why I'm asking if there's anybody interested in that, and maybe turn it into an open source platform and really mess with the world.
Yeah, I already got Kuz is interested. Let me know, Kuz, if you'd be interested, and I'll bring you into this if you want. I mean, from my perspective, it definitely can be done. It's an expensive endeavor if you plan to go the MATLAB route. It's very expensive. Just to get you started, you're looking at $30,000-$40,000 just for the boards and the software licensing.
Oh no, we have all that.
Oh, you
This is
have
the
all
point.
that. Okay.
I have all that.
Okay.
Everything is sitting here. I'm drowning in it. It's just, should I go and try and mine Bitcoins with FPGAs, which is, useless now, Litecoins, or should I just build a day trading platform that, does work for me and others?
Yeah. I'm not sure. I got a great from Kuz. I'm not sure if that means it sounds like he's in agreement. I'll tell you what. Can you send me an email, John, and then what I'll do is I'll get you in touch with maybe Kuz as well, because if he's interested, maybe you guys can work together on some. Would that work? Okay. I'm not going to speak out my email here just because it's going to get out there in the public domain. Just don't need the
No, just you can send it to the proper channel.
So you have the did you get it? I put in the chat box.
I've got it. Yes.
Okay, just email me there, and I'll get you in touch with Kuz because he's already asking for a please. So that means he's interested.
Okay.
Okay, he's a good hardware guy. Anybody else would be interested? Let me know, and I'll get John in touch with you guys. Anybody else out there? I guess not. This is Kuz. Alex. Okay, we got some other questions, some other stuff. Okay, I'm hoping I'll help you out, John. Because
hey, I'm hoping to help everybody else out in this little elite.
Oh, no problem, man. That's what it's for. The thing is, from my perspective, like if you're going to go the MATLAB route, it's very expensive, but it is a lot easier than hand coding in HDL, which is a proprietary language, I guess you could say, for FPGA.
Well, I mean, for your models and stuff, this is where I kind of came across you. Is you're doing the Simulink models, and I've been building Simulink models, but to do basically image processing and,
Right.
and more sophisticated machine control. And I'm just like, wow, that same hardware can be retasked to do, trading and making money and stuff like that.
I mean, I don't know if you're aware, but the only way that FIX or these boards can talk to the world of not brokers, really more exchanges. To get access to those FIX connections is very expensive on a monthly basis. You're looking at, I don't know, I've heard anywhere from $3,000, $5,000, even up to $10,000 per month just to get the boards to connect into somewhere on a broker side. So that's just to connect into the world of brokerage. So I know a lot of people get caught up in the high frequency and all that stuff, but That's something that needs to be considered. But the software, you can kind of get around that. I mean, my solution is definitely not going to be high frequency, but I can definitely trade on tick, as I've shown you the capabilities earlier.
Well,
Go ahead, go
I
ahead.
mean that's an option. Is that we just trade on tick on a regular poor man's feed for
Yeah,
now. But I mean, sooner or later you'll get to the point where you're like, I want to play in the big leagues, and
yeah,
you get it, gigabit connection because the hardware sure has it. So
yeah, and and that's why I like Simulink as well, because you can design your model in Simulink, and then you can at the same time generate that from that model, that visual model, your C or C++ or your FPGA code, like your Altera or your Xilinx code for the boards, and you don't have to do anything. It's just, I won't say pushing buttons, but it's a lot easier, as I said, than hand coding. It's a good option. So if you want, just send me an email. We can talk about it.
I will.
Okay?
Thank you.
No problem, man. Okay, we still got a lot of questions. Not a lot, but quite a few questions here. Okay, Steve came back with his kit about KIT, all components to build tutorials ourselves, learning by doing. So I'm assuming is what you're looking for is like a self-contained file that you download will get you up and running and started right away. That's something I would definitely consider. Yeah, but right now I have to work off of templates because, as I said, there's so many moving parts. You got your database, you got your data feed, you have your interactive brokers, and on top of that, if you want to do charting, that's another story. So this complete system is piece by piece. So to do it as one download is kind of hard to do. I'm not sure if that answered your question, Steve, or comment. Alex came back. Bloomberg is actually considered slow compared to more high-speed collated feed vendors. You're right, Alex. But again, then if I'm assuming you're meaning you're getting into questions of trading directly on the market, and that gets even more expensive. 5,000 long-term contracts that need to be signed. It's more for institutional players, and from my experience, you need to have literally. And the industry insiders will tell you need at least $10 million to go down that path. You can do it with virtual private servers, but again, I don't know. I'd just rather do it for my own desktop if I could. Alex came back with, what does this hand raise lowering function do on the smartphone app? I'm not sure what you're referring to. If you're referring to go-to meeting, it's just a way to get my attention, but you don't need to go through that. You can just do the questions here because I don't have thousands of people asking questions. Anybody else got any questions? Because that's it from my end. Any comments? I'm just trying to find out who would be interested in joining the membership. Hopefully that this webinar is good enough for people to be interested in this type of thing. I try to present a lot of resources to address as many people as I can, experienced and newbies and everything in between, or everyone in between. Okay, Steve came back with, don't need real time for all tutorials. You can do it because all of this can be too complicated. Nice if an R tutorial, for example, is a list of what I need, but no more than that. Okay, let me walk you through a demo or a way to answer that question, Steve. If you come under the courses, I think I've kind of already hinted towards this. Hang on here. And let's go back to my live dashboard. Got graphical representation. It's not doing anything, but I'm realizing, no, it's not the real dashboard. Okay, so let me go into my real dashboard here. If you come under courses, for instance, specifically for R, I'll just give you a random choice here. Let's say you go through the R stuff and you see something you like. Let's say 30-day moving average function. Okay. Typically, what this involves is it's fairly easy. As I said, you have a video to walk you through it. You download it. And typically, I don't have our studio loaded up. All you need to do in your R environment, just run this through your RStudio line by line and be able to follow the video tutorial for that particular script. I'm not sure if that helps you out with that, but if you're, this is just referring to an actual individual strategy. And it's the same idea with the MATLAB as well. Let me see here. I don't know. Algo. Oh, yeah. So Steve says all you need is RStudio. Correct. Yeah, RStudio is the IDE for R. It's very powerful and really it's awesome for an open source product. I really like it. Yeah, and that's all you need. But you will get messages, Steve, where it'll say you need this package and that package, and it's very easy to install that package. I need R as well. Which version? Just use the latest versions of both RStudio and R. They should be able to talk to each other. I haven't played with it for about a year, but I don't think anything really major has changed in R or RStudio. And just basically you install the needed package, and usually I highlight the package that's needed. You just install it, and then you'll be able to run the script, and that's it. It's not too difficult. But again, these are just R scripts. You can integrate R scripts with C#. It's just the time it takes to initialize that session from within C#. It's fairly slow, as opposed to with MATLAB. It's very quick. So it kind of defeats the purpose with R. I haven't really tried it with Python, but with IronPython, you are limited on the functionality of IronPython versus native Python. Steve come back with, I can do this, but I think some people might need step-by-step instructions. Yes, you are right. Those particular courses are meant for people that already understand R. As I said, R is not really my priority language. It's really MATLAB and the .NET with C# is my primary language. So that's just an added thing I just threw out there as part of this membership. But hopefully people can take advantage of that are using R. But there are equivalent of MATLAB from R, but R does have some advantages with some of the stuff that MATLAB does not cover. So you may see the odd strategy may involve R. But again, R you cannot do any really live trading, no different than with the question I had with MATLAB as well. It's not really meant for live trading. I mean, small little pieces you could do it, but if you're doing it in large volume, you may run into various issues. Anybody else got any questions? Coming up to 8:40. It's almost pushing 2 hours now. I don't mind doing it. I could be here all night. Anybody else got any questions at all? But do let me know. Here, I'll put a question out for all of you. How many of you guys want to see that representation of how I do with the charting front end with these live trading models and the tie-in with a SQL Server as the back-end repository? You want me to show that next week? I can definitely do that. Just give me a yes. Me. Ricardo says. Who says yes? So obviously it's a popular thing. So I'll definitely put that out there as a priority, and maybe I might be able to showcase a live trading strategy as well, going up against the TWS. Which reminds me, I've got my TWS loaded up. I'll get to that in a minute. Steve commented, live trading and research are so different. I think they should be separate setups. They somewhat are in a way, Steve. If you play a lot with MATLAB, you can connect into IQFeed, and yes, you can trade with IB or XTrader or Bloomberg. You can do all that from within MATLAB. Again, I don't say it's free, but MATLAB enables you to use it as a prototyping environment. The cool thing about it is once you have something that's profitable, let's say, or a strategy that shows profit, you can take that MATLAB script and maybe hand code it in a C++ or run the MATLAB coder to generate C++ from it, or you can have your C# call that MATLAB script directly using the Builder NE toolbox. There's a numerous number of options that are available, and again, I address that, present that in the courses. So back to the front end. Definitely, I'll try to put something together if I can complete. I'm hoping I can, and present that from the next webinar. Okay. And then Steve said good, so I'm assuming what I just answered is good. Paul asked about interactive brokers. So what I'm going to do here is I hope my system doesn't bomb. It looks like everything's not cooperating as usual here. Let me see if I can find my, I can't even find my, yeah, my system's kind of dogging it. I hate to say it. Trying to think, okay, let me just tear down my SQL server and see if that will release some memory. Usually you shouldn't be doing all this stuff on one system. But, oh, there we go, there's my IB. Okay, so I'm using the demo, can't even remember my credentials, a demo user account. Okay, oh, login failed. I can't even remember my the user credentials for IB. I haven't used it in a few days. Okay, it's logging in now. So it's logging in, the TWS is loading in Trader Workstation. So what I'll do is I'll prepare my model. Okay, so what I've got here is I've got a script, C#. All it really does is it's just generating numbers, numerical data, like randomly, and then it's going to just submit orders into interactive brokers. This is just a demo. Yes, you can actually connect live. Yes, you can submit orders from interactive brokers. You know what? I just remembered. Yeah, my system's already being taxed as it is. Might have some difficulties getting this running. Yeah, so there's a TWS. Let me see if I have something running background. I'm going to see if I can get this running. I might have a memory constraint here. Let me just run it. Let's see what happens. So you can see my system's already dogging. Oh, no, looks like it's running. Okay, so what it's doing is randomly generating these numbers. I got a rolling window of, I think it's 15 or something before it starts sending out orders to interactive brokers. There might be, maybe it's 20. No, it's not working. Oh, yep, it's actually working. So, as I said, it's just an oscillator. I'm going to show you my interactive brokers here. So you can see in interactive brokers, it's actually doing buy, sell, buy, sell. That's all I want to do is just demo the connectivity with interactive brokers. Just pull that down, yes. So I'll kill the process. So just want to show, yes, you can do that with interactive brokers. And I'm sure my Visual Studio will blow up. Yeah. Okay. So, anybody got any questions on that at all? Let me just hang on here. Yes. Okay, so that will free up my memory. Alex asks, is that code single thread? Yes, it is. It's very simple, very primitive, but I have full control of how I do all my multi-threading from within that project I just showed you in C#. That's part of my code, but again, that's getting into advanced stuff, but that capability is very definite. Anybody else? Paul, did that address your TWS demo? You had a question on it, you just said TWS question mark. I wasn't sure, but that's just to demonstrate the capabilities with the interactive brokers. Anybody else got any questions at all? Because we're coming up to 8:46, or again, no, sorry, 8:50. Anybody else? Comments? Anybody? Throw comments at me. Questions? If you want, I don't mind being on here all night. Okay, so what I'll do next week, I'll schedule maybe Tuesday, Wednesday next week for a demonstration with the front end with that charting package that I just showed in DevExpress. And Yeah, I'll try to demonstrate it with the SQL Server running, and then once I get it to that point, obviously I'll post all that source code in the membership. Cool. Will you develop your own true OMS or just piggyback on TWS? Alex, I'll be just piggying back off of the TWS. The reason for that is because it's easy. I don't want to get caught up in all the connectivity issues with a broker because I don't know. One day I may choose to move to another broker like Dukascopy or LMAX, and I want to put in as little work into that as possible. So TWS right now is the easiest path for me. And the other big advantage I should mention with retail trading, probably a bunch of people heard me say this already. Source code's part of this. Because you get source code, as I said, with Alex, he asked about multi-threading. You have full control over that. Why? Because you get source code. Again, with that, you also have the capabilities to connect into multiple brokers, so you can have better ways to choose your routing on your orders. So it's very powerful stuff. But again, it comes to you and how you want to code that up. But right now, at this point, I won't be getting into that, as there's Alex also brought up the question of risk management. Right now, that's obviously part of what I'm doing, but that's going to be put on the back burner because right now I just want to focus on strategies, forecasting strategies. That's my priority right now. I've done everything on the platform side. I'm bringing something in on the charting side with the database, and right now I just want to enter in a very long phase of doing strategy and algorithmic and model development. So all that risk management, all that stuff is going to be put at the end once I get through that exercise. And that'll probably most likely take me quite a while, a couple of months, maybe 6 months, who knows. Steve came back with cool. Thanks, Steve. Hopefully that'll mean a lot. Steve also says if I spit out a CSV from any platform in real time, it would like to read it real time with a tutorial and see my chart. Yes, but you have to remember, Steve, you have to parse that CSV into the format that your charting system or your trading system can read. You can't just do it generically from one format to another because you have to parse everything the right way. That's on the programming side. Anybody else got any questions? 8:55. I don't mind going on. Anybody, like I said, got any comments or questions? I won't be offended. Anybody else out there? So definitely next week I'll leverage off of what I've demoed tonight and put together a charting presentation and so on and so forth. Just simple stuff. I'm not wanting to go crazy with all the other options that I present in that module of visualization. That's another whole world to get involved with. I just want to keep everything simple as it stands right now, because you can imagine already this thing's becoming a beast with, as I said, the 5 major pieces that I mentioned, like the database, the graphical, whatever it's going to be, the broker, the data provider, and the model itself. So it can get pretty crazy pretty fast. I'm already at that point. Till next week, thanks. Great session, Coos. Thank you very much, Coos, for coming on out. Anybody else got any questions? Hopefully I'll see you next week or see you online, Coos. Anybody else got any questions? Because I might just wrap it up if we don't have any other questions and other things. I probably will demo a lot more than I wanted to demo and just give you a heads up on how this membership works. It looks like some add-ons based on TWS. I'm not sure how you're referring to, Alex, but you can do a lot more than just TWS. You can do custom models with a huge an analytical engine, just have a whole new environment. Anybody else got any questions? Comments at all? Steve asks, parsing or importing CSV is important, but part of anything useful. TradeStation, for example, cannot do this very well. I can output, but not input. Limitation of another retail trading platform. I'm sure we talked about with multi-charts as well. Again, because you're getting source code, you have full access and full control of what you do here. Anybody else? Questions, answers? Coming up to well, coming up to 9 p.m. my time. Anybody else? Comments, questions, feedback? I'm always looking to improve stuff. I'll definitely consider what you mentioned, Steve, or at least provide resources on how to get started, or if that's what you'd like to see. Let me know. I've given my email, so if you got any questions, let me know via email, or just post it whatever in the forum, or anywhere, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, whatever, or even on the blog itself. I'm always open to new improvements. Anybody else? If that's the case, I'll just give her a wrap for tonight. Anybody else? Hopefully this is a good educational for anybody who's interested in doing this sort of thing and what I do with this elite membership thing, and so on and so forth. Okay, we got a couple more comments. Will you still backtest with MATLAB instead of C#? It's a combination of both, Alex. Preferably, I'll be more prototyping and doing all the backtesting in MATLAB before I release it to the C#. So most likely it'll be done in C#. Steve says, I have colleagues who use all of these languages. Yeah, it's all standard stuff I'm using. I'm not using like some cryptic language like Erlang or something. That's why I'm here with you. Yeah, for sure. I use all the mainstream stuff. Thanks, man. Steve, because you've been a long time person who's been following me for a long time. Anybody else got any questions, comments, concerns? I can be here all night. It's up to you. I don't want to take up all everyone's time. Anybody? We're down to 6 people. We didn't have a lot. We came up to, I think, 8 or probably 9 or 10 people. I think we're up to. No one is still here has got a story to tell, I'm sure. Anybody at all? Questions, comments? If not, we can just give her a wrap. Anything out there? I'll do a going once, going twice, going 3 times. So, like I said, keep your eyes on the meetups, or the email, or my website, and I'll let you know on the next event for doing the webinar. Keep it all cool. Oh, there's a comment. Can you schedule this more regularly? Just for you, Alex, we do this weekly. Tuesdays or Wednesdays is the time we do it, so we definitely do it weekly. Just keep your eyes on the meetups. I'll give you, if you're not part of the meetup, quant finance, because I do the announcements through that as one area, or just join my newsletter. Steve says thanks, nice webinar. Thanks, Steve. Anybody else got any questions or concerns before I wrap her up? Going once, going twice, going 3 times. So like I said, keep your eyes on that group, the meetup. That's a good place to start. To keep an eye out for all the stuff that I do on webinars. And like I said, Alex, we do it weekly. So if that is all, it's a good night from me. Thanks for coming on out. I hope you consider joining the webinar or the elite membership. If not, well, hey, no worries on that end. We can still be friends. And anybody that's taking advantage of it, please take advantage of it. That's what it's there for. I put everything there for you all to communicate with each other, share ideas, and so on and so forth, and learn and long live and prosper. That's the whole point of it. Anything else? Anything else? If not, I'll give her a wrap. Again, thank you very much for coming on out. You guys have been awesome. Great webinar from my end. Thanks for everyone being part of this. All right, so I'll talk to you soon. I'll talk to you soon next week. Later. Have a good night.